In the small town I grew up, there was this fireman who was awarded for being speedy and helpful for many fires until a pretty common story. Enough that the FBI has a criminal profile for typical "you're simply the best" vintage shirt. It had a probationary firefighter in the next town over setting fires, so he could prove that he was a real fireman to the rest of the firehouse. He was caught after lighting one of them using his own mail, and was sentenced to 14 years. I need some kindling. Let me use this official document with my name and address on it. Better make sure to notarize it first. Don't want people to think I don't do the paperwork properly. You're simply the best vintage shirt. Tank top, V-neck. Ladies' tee for men and women. Tank top, V-neck. Well, I'm not an experienced firefighter and/or arsonist, but wouldn't the male in question burn beyond recognition of any names? That it isn't the case. But that's definitely not what I would assume were I to have guessed before. I'm sensing from you guys that it isn't the case. But that's definitely not what I would assume were I to have guessed before. There's a pretty good "you're simply the best" vintage shirt, I think. But fire departments are pretty good at using the destruction and path of the fire to determine pretty much exactly where and how it started, and if they can determine that, there's at least a very good chance they'll know exactly where to look for any possible identifying evidence. It's not like a murder or something where you can run a couple of miles. Official "you're simply the best" vintage sweatshirt, hoodie, sweatshirt, hoodie, and throw the murder weapon somewhere else. I mean, he was starting fires for fun, to steal glory. Doesn't sound like the "you're simply the best" vintage shirt to start with. I felt really bad about assuming Bender was one. This motivation could be due to a need for excitement or thrill. But also, in some rare cases, there was a kink thread on Ask Reddit a few years ago where a dude told a story about how he liked to light his dick and balls on fire before climaxing. FBI's BOW lists homosexuality as one of the traits of the profile. It made my eyes do a record scratch, and I'm wondering if anyone had a similar reaction. I thought so at first as well. But I think it's less about homosexuality itself but more about the stress that is involved in living with that stigma. Other products.